Hello, I guess the show's already been introduced, so I'll just open it up for questions.
Can you tell us a little bit about what happened at the Jamboree on Friday night?
Played our Jamboree down at Grain Valley. We went against Raytown and Lee Summit. We were excited to see Lee Summit because they run a spread offense, and that's what, we're going to have to beat some teams who run a spread. I think we had a good showing. We had a good pass rush, which has been a focus for us over the summer, we wound up, on the score. If there were a scoreboard, we wound up tying both Raytown and Lee Summit. But I feel like walking away, we were the better team. We could have played better football than we did. I was a little disappointed in our lack of emotion, but I think that was tied to a lot of circumstances as well. And I think the kids are just ready to play a game.
With the loss of Antoine Beavers, what players are you looking to step up and make plays on offense, and what about some standouts on defense?
Well, in our offense, we run zone power counter offense, and we're going to run the football, and we've always been able to find good, productive running backs, and I think there's no exception this year. We've got Marvin Shoemate and Richard Richardson, Austin Ord. We've got a long list of young men who can run the ball well. I think our quarterback is probably among the best quarterbacks in the city, and we have a couple of outstanding receivers, so we will be okay as far as moving the football. We're going to run the same offensive scheme that we always run. We may just change up throw in a few more pass plays than what we have in the past.
You guys have a lot of returning seniors. You want to talk a little bit about them and what they mean to the program?
Well, we have 28 returning seniors on the roster, which, for Class 4 high school and 28 seniors in the program, that's good stuff. This senior class has really taken on the identity that we've asked our football team to take on. They've kind of become what we set out to build, and they've done that themselves through their own hard work and just through being quality young men. We're excited to see how they lead our football team.
With another year of experience with this program, what off-season adjustments did you take to prepare for this season?
Well, we always reevaluate how the season went after the season, what we as a coaching staff could have done better, what we did well, what we could have improved upon. And so every year there are adjustments in terms of how we teach things, when we introduce things, what we introduce things against. So we just try to tweak it and get better every year. This year we're running the same scheme that we've run for the last 3 years here at North, but we've tweaked it here and there and tried to make it more linear and organized so that the kids can keep it straight in their head a little bit better. And we tried to time our insertion of each play in a way that would allow it to build, to scaffold their knowledge and make things more understandable as they come out. And I think the staff's done a great job with that.
May I have your attention, please?
On Friday night, what are you guys looking to do, like specifically as far as the goals for Friday night individually? What are you looking to get out of that?
Well, we want to be physical in every aspect of the game. We want to have a physical run-stopping presence. We want to block people. We want to tackle. We want to make sure that the fundamentals are sound, and if we do all that, we should be all right. We look for improvement in that regard from last week, and we expect to see it.
Okay. Last year you started using Nick Hess as a running back in addition to his linebacker duties. Will he be used in this role?
It's possible that we could continue to use him in third and short situations. Right now he's playing left tackle for us on the offensive line. We could move him to the backfield in short yard situations and bring in a lineman for him.
Talk a little bit about Brian Sharp, and you said he's one of the best quarterbacks in the city. What makes him so good at what he does?
Well, Brian has got a tremendous arm, which is the first thing that pops out to you when you see him throw. I've never seen a high school kid throw a football like he does in terms of just the velocity and accuracy on the ball. But in addition to that, I think what he has is a kind of a sixth sense, just kind of a natural quarterback attitude and charisma about him, and he has a good feel for the game. He's one of those. He's one of the rare kids that when you coach him, you just have to tell him something one time, and then he's got it. It's not a matter of having to drill it into his head and make him rehearse it over and over. I mean, you can just make one comment, and he can act on that comment, which can get frustrating as a coach because you run out of things to tell him. Because you say it one time and then you got to move on to the next thing. Pretty soon you don't have anything left for the kid. But that's pretty much, you know, the way it is with him. He still has things he needs to work on. He still wants to throw the deep ball a little too much. When he does throw the deep ball, like all our quarterbacks, he'll throw it a little bit too late a lot of the time, and turns into a jump ball situation. So we've got to make sure that we stay on him, even though he's so easy to coach and he learns so fast. We got to make sure that he doesn't go backwards on skills that he's already learned and things like that. So, but we expect good things out of him, you know. But on the other side of that, you know, if you want to have a great quarterback, you've got to have receivers who run to the right places, catch the ball. You got to have an offensive line who's going to protect the quarterback, running backs who are going to step up and protect the passer. So there is a multitude of things that go into having a successful passing game that extend way beyond the quarterback, and we've worked and worked and worked tirelessly on those things, and hope that it pays dividends.
Over the offseason, what aspect did the football team improve the most from your perspective?
You know, we started the offseason pretty good. You know, we have a lot of returners. This is our first year ever having, you know, all the kids in our program being here from the time they were a freshman all the way through. You know, we kind of hit the ground running. I think that where we've improved is we've found young players and new players who've stepped up and proven that they can play football. And so our major improvements, I think, are personnel-wise. You know, we found, you know, a couple defensive linemen, and John Raboli and Dennis Kane, who are going to fill in nicely for us on the defensive line, and players at a lot of different positions. And that's the fun part of coaching. You know, when you have 168 kids out for football, you know, that front line, that first group, over the course of 2 months of the summer changes a great deal as kids step up and other kids, you know, step down. And so I think that our greatest improvement was in finding the right personnel and putting them in the right places. And when you have 2 months to do that, you can take your time doing it and make sure that you get it right. And I think that we've done a pretty good job of getting it right.
Who are some of the kids you think will step up and lead the team this year?
Well, you know, we have 4 appointed leaders. Coach Clark is in charge of the leadership in our program, and he chose 4 leaders: Paul Silvio, Brad Slobodnik, Nick Hess, and Bryce Shepard are the 4 appointed leaders. And then we've got leadership running throughout the program outside of that, just natural leaders. You know, we're still looking for that young man who, when the bullets are flying, is going to step up and pull everybody along with him. You know, when the mood of the day is down and everybody's lacking emotion and they're feeling flat, we're still looking for that player who's going to get everybody's attitude changed right there on the spot. We have 168 tireless kids who work all the time and show up all the time and are there on time and work hard and do what they're asked, obedient kids. But what we need, and what we're still looking for, is that leader who can take charge on the field when the bullets are flying and change things when things start to go downhill. That person who can who can stop that ball from rolling downhill and get everybody back in gear. We're still looking for that person.
What are your expectations for this year?
Expectations for the year, the same as always. You know, the one thing that we talked about in terms of goals is that we want to go 1-0 every week at every level. You know, we every week is a season in and of itself. We want to win every week, but in order to do that, sometimes you have to forget about what happened the week before and not look to the weeks beyond. So our expectations of the season are that we'll go 1-0 every week on the varsity level, the JV level, the sophomore level, and the freshman level.
What are you, if you had to pick one thing that you are looking to improve upon this year, what would that be?
One thing that we're looking to improve upon, you know, we need to, based on the Jamboree, we've got to get better at getting off blocks, defeating blockers before we worry about the ball carrier. If you're basing it on my experience at Liberty North, we've got to avoid that bad night. We've got to avoid that night where the kids are flat, the coaches are flat, the energy's low, there's no enthusiasm. If we're able to avoid that, and if we're able to bring the right energy every week, then we have what I believe is a real shot to win all of them. But we've got to bring the right energy every week.
The schedule for this season is last season's flipped, correct?
Correct.
Is there any different kind of approaches you're going to take with playing the same teams that you played last year?
Well, you know, we kind of take the philosophy of we do what we do, all right? We take the things that we're good at and we apply them in the game. If we're not good at it, we're not going to try it just because it looks like the right thing to do on paper. And sometimes it might look like the wrong thing to do on paper, but if your kids are good at doing it, then you're still going to be able to execute it. So really, we have pretty much the same game plan every week. Of course, we adjust it to what we're going to see in our opponents, but it can apply to any type of opponent. You know, we know that in order for us to win all of our games, we're going to have to get better on the perimeter of our defense. From a defensive perspective, every team that we lost to last year, we lost because they beat us on the perimeter, either an outside run or a passing game. And so we've focused on getting more athletic in the defensive backfield and coming into the season with more coverages and more alignments that we've tried to perfect as opposed to just putting them in for that week. So we're hopeful that that'll pay dividends because, you know, in the long run, we're going to be able to run the football. That's what we do. Hopefully we'll be able to throw the ball each night that we play. We can stop the run because that's also what we do. We're more physical than our opponents typically. You know, what's going to make the difference for us is can we stop those teams who play well on the perimeter, the 4 wide receiver teams, the jet sweep teams, people who get the ball to the outside and to the edges. And if we can do that, then this could be a real successful, fun season.
Maybe just talk about week 1 opponent, Ruskin, Coach.
Ruskin is an athletic football team. They run basically our top personnel offense. They run a 3 wide, 1 back, 1 tight end offense. They're a shotgun formation team. They like to throw it with a lot of high-low concepts similar to us. Defensively, they run a 3-4 defense and a lot of cover 2 and cover 4. I think we've got a good opportunity to get a good look at a 3 wide receiver set defensively and play 4 quarters against that, which will be good for our defense. And offensively, it's good for us to see a 3-4 as well because a couple of the teams that we have to beat are 3-4 teams. So, you know, they provide us with the threat of the big play at any given time because they're fast and athletic. And at the same time, they provide us with a good opportunity to work against things that we need to get better at in order to win the big games down the road. All right, want to thank everybody for the morning. Have a good day at school.